They thought they were just taking pictures of history. But when police recovered the camera weeks later, the final image showed something horrifying. A handprint, pressed against the inside of a locked cell door, fresh blood still dripping down the wall. The photographer was nowhere to be found. This is the story of Graystone Asylum, and the dark truth hidden behind those hauntingly beautiful photos that flood the internet. Graystone Asylum stood on the outskirts of Mill Creek, Pennsylvania, a crumbling monument to forgotten pain. Built in 1907, it once housed over 1,200 patients, many of whom were sent there for reasons that would shock us today: postpartum depression, epilepsy, even moral insanity. But after a string of patient deaths and budget cuts, the asylum closed its doors in 1979. Since then, it became a hotspot for urban explorers, ghost hunters, and photographers chasing the perfect eerie shot. One of them was Evan Cross, a 29-year-old freelance photographer from Pittsburgh. Evan was known online for his moody, cinematic photos of abandoned places. His Instagram page, Forgotten Light, had over 80,000 followers, each drawn to his haunting compositions of decay and beauty. He told his friends he wanted to visit Graystone before it was gone. The building was scheduled for demolition in just 3 months. On October 12, 2022, Evan packed his camera gear, flashlight, drone, and a small recorder. He texted his sister one last time. "Heading in now. Might be out of service for a bit. This one's going to be insane." He was never heard from again. When Evan didn't show up to a photography meetup the next day, his friends assumed he was still editing. But after 48 hours of silence, his sister, Mia, filed a missing persons report. Police traced his phone signal to the outskirts of Graystone. His car was still parked outside the main gate, camera bag on the passenger seat, keys in the ignition. But the asylum was vast, 5 floors, dozens of hallways, and a maze of underground tunnels that once connected wards and maintenance areas. The locals said even seasoned explorers avoided the lower levels. Inside, search teams found signs that Evan had been there: a tripod near the old administration wing, a half-eaten energy bar, and a disposable mask hanging on a doorknob marked Ward C. The strange thing? That section of the asylum had been sealed for decades. Yet the lock on the door had been cut from the inside. Detective Laura Petrovich led the case. She was a 17-year veteran, pragmatic but not immune to the eerie atmosphere of Graystone. Her team combed through Evan's social media for clues. His last post was a short video clip: flickering light, a narrow hallway, and what sounded like someone whispering, "Help me." He captioned it, "Sometimes the walls remember." The timestamp? 2:37 a.m. Forensics retrieved his SD card from the camera found near the asylum's boiler room. Most of the photos showed the usual: peeling paint, rusted beds, abandoned medical tools. But the final 10 images were different. They were all taken in complete darkness, illuminated only by flash. One showed a narrow hallway lined with hospital beds. Another, a set of handprints smeared across the floor. The last one, that infamous shot, captured the bloodied hand pressed against the cell door. The timestamp between the second to last and last photo was 0:17 seconds. 17 seconds unaccounted for. During the search, a volunteer rescue worker fell through a rotted section of flooring, straight into a hidden storage room below. What they found changed the case entirely. Inside were boxes of undeveloped film rolls, dated from the 1960s through the 1970s. The labels read things like patient observation, confidential, and shock therapy sessions. Police sent them to the state archive for development. When the images came back, investigators were stunned. They showed patients strapped to gurneys, faces bruised, eyes rolled back. Some photos were of the same rooms Evan had photographed, but decades earlier. And in one of those vintage shots, standing behind a patient was a nurse whose face was blurred, almost smeared, like the photographer had tried to capture something that wasn't fully there. The nurse's name tag, though faded, read P. Merrin. Detective Petrovich dug into the asylum's records. Nurse Patricia Merrin worked at Graystone from 1965 until the facility's closure. But she'd been accused of multiple acts of patient abuse: restraints without authorization, falsified medical charts, and unauthorized electroshock treatments. Before she could be questioned, she vanished. Her body was never found. Rumor had it she lived in one of the closed wings even after the asylum shut down, feeding off scraps left by squatters. Some said she believed she was still on duty, still caring for her patients. Evan's last known location? Ward C, the same ward Nurse Merrin once supervised. Forensic analysts enhanced the final photos on Evan's camera. Beneath the reflection of the bloodied hand, they noticed something faint, a silhouette. It appeared to be a woman in an old nurse's uniform, standing behind the glass. Detective Petrovich dismissed ghost theories, but she couldn't deny what the evidence suggested. Someone had been living in the asylum recently. Further investigation revealed a hidden passage behind Ward C, leading to a small underground chamber. Inside were remnants of modern life, food wrappers, a sleeping bag, and hundreds of printed photographs. Each one was of explorers who had visited the asylum, taken from unseen angles. And in the center of the room, taped to the wall, was a photo of Evan, alive, holding his camera with a handwritten message below. He saw what he wasn't supposed to see. DNA tests from the chamber revealed traces of a woman, not Patricia Merrin but her daughter, Helen Merrin. She'd been born at the asylum in 1971, one of several children delivered to staff who lived on site. Records showed Helen was placed in foster care after the closure, and had disappeared from the system at age 15. Detectives now believed Helen had returned to the asylum, living off the grid, obsessed with preserving her mother's legacy. She had watched explorers enter her home, documenting them like her mother once documented her patients. But Evan's photos, especially the one capturing her underground chamber, had crossed a line. Police theorized she confronted him that night. A struggle followed, leading to his death. But without a body, the case couldn't be closed. Graystone Asylum was demolished in early 2023. Weeks later, demolition workers discovered a camera lens buried under the rubble, same brand Evan used. Inside the cracked casing they found a memory card. Only one image remained recoverable. It showed the asylum hallway, empty, except for a faint figure in the distance. The metadata revealed the timestamp. October 13, 2:54 a.m., 17 minutes after Evan's last known photo. Evan's body has never been found. Today, urban explorers say that when you visit what's left of Graystone's grounds and take a picture near the foundation, a shadow sometimes appears in the frame. A woman in a nurse's uniform, her head tilted just slightly, watching. Was Helen Merrin ever real? Or did Evan's obsession with capturing the forgotten simply consume him? Maybe some places aren't meant to be remembered, because the memories inside them never truly died. If this story gave you chills, if it made you look twice at the photos you see online, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more true crime mysteries, and share it with someone brave enough to watch till the end. Because sometimes, the truth behind the lens is darker than the picture itself.